Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Singapore has barred the entry of foreign workers from the Philippines and other countries due to their increasing COVID-19 cases. The Philippine Overseas Labor Office in Singapore says that the move was done after cases were reported to have come from those that arrived in the country. Only travelers from Australia, Brunei, mainland China, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau can enter the country. Now, the agency meanwhile said Singapore is in need of more than 200 vaccinators. But Filipinos wanting to apply for the job will have to wait due to the country's restrictions. China, meanwhile, has approved the use of its homegrown Sinovac shots for kids and teens. Chinese regulators gave the green light for Sinovac after positive results from its phase 2 clinical trials. With this, minors aged 3 to 17 may now receive Sinovac doses. But it will be up to China's health authorities to decide when this age group will be scheduled for inoculation. The Health Department reports nearly 7,000 new COVID-19 infections. That brings the country's case tally to over 1,180,000, some 59,500 of which are still considered active. Now, 195 more deaths were confirmed overnight, pushing the death toll to over 21,700. Total recoveries now stand at 1,262,000, with more than 8,000 new survivors logged in the past 24 hours. Now, what could be the explanation for this sudden increase in COVID-19 cases once again? Let's discuss this and more with Octa Research Fellow, Professor Guido David. He's joining us over the phone tonight. Sir, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Lisa.
Sir Guido, what's the latest trend are we seeing, and how is it the country's reproduction rate?
Yes, the country's reproduction number right now is 1.05, so it's greater than 1. Which means that the trend is slightly upward or slightly increasing. In fact, we have a one-week growth rate of about 19% compared to the previous week. But most of these cases are outside NCR. So the trend in the NCR is fairly level, which means that it's actually not increasing but not decreasing significantly. In fact, we have a one-week growth rate of -2% and the reproduction number of 0.73 in NCR.
So, Guido, other than NCR, are there other areas that have been showing significant increase in number?
Yes, Riza. In fact, we're seeing a significant increase in many cities in the Mindanao area. So this includes Davao City, Cagayan de Oro, General Santos, Cotabato City, Coronadal, and Butuan. And also in Western Visayas, we're seeing still an increase in Iloilo City and Bacolod. And then in the north, we're still seeing an increase in Tuguegarao.
So with this sudden increase, was it the right move to relax restrictions?
Well, we can't stay in a lockdown forever, so that's sure. So we have to take risks with easing restrictions at some point. So there's always a risk when we ease restrictions. If we don't take the risk, we'll be staying in lockdown, and it will be difficult to have the economy recovered if we're always in lockdown. So we have to take the risk, and the way we're doing it is by gradual easing of restrictions. Right now, we're not seeing a significant increase in the NCR, but in the other provinces, especially in Mindanao, this might be due to lax restrictions, fairly loose restrictions a month ago, and this has allowed possibly some variants to enter the region and take hold, and that's why there's community transmission, and we believe that is driven by variants in Mindanao area in Western Visayas.
So Guido, moving forward, what do you think could the government do to prevent another spike in cases?
Well, vaccination is really the primary way that we can prevent further spikes or increases in cases. But we won't have containment or population protection until towards the end of the year. So until then, we still really need to focus on testing and contact tracing, isolation, quick isolation. And then we also, we shouldn't be complacent still. So we should remind the general public not to be, to follow the health protocols and not to be complacent, because some of the increases that we're seeing, for example, in the NCR, we're seeing increases in some LGUs in the NCR, but overall the trend is flat. These increases may be attributed to people becoming lax and having social gatherings and congregations, and this has caused a small spike in cases in some LGUs.
Mm-hmm. Sir, what about face shields? What's your stand or your take on the recent call to drop them?
Well, I understand that some people are fairly frustrated with face shields. My understanding has always been that face shields are, more effective when used indoors, and when we are outdoors, the added protection of face shields is probably not very. It's probably minimal. And even for indoors, I haven't seen exactly the studies that they have referred to. I believe that they use scientific studies to make the basis for the decision for indoors. And I agree that there's some level of protection for eyes, because transmission can still happen through droplets entering the eyes. So there is probably some added level of protection. But I believe we shouldn't be too strict with wearing face shields when outdoors, especially when it's raining, because it would be difficult to have face shields. And if it's raining, it's like driving a car and, your wipers are not working. So it would be difficult to see.
Well, sir, thank you very much for your time as always. That's Octa Research Fellow, Professor Guido David. It looks like Kiefer Ravenna won't be flying to Japan soon. The PBA has announced that it is barring Ravenna from playing in the Japanese B-League. PBA Chairman Ricky Vargas says that the NLEX Road Warriors guard is compelled to honor his contract, which binds his commitment with the Road Warriors and the PBA. PBA will relay the league's decision to the Japanese League and Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas soon. Last week, Ravenna announced that he has signed with the Shiga Lake Stars of the Japanese B-League.
The board has come up with its decision, and its decision is follows specifically a philosophy on the importance of a contract, which is in Philippine law very important, in the PBA and in FIBA. So the board has decided that Kiefer has to honor his contract with NLEX and with the PBA. And I guess his contract is going to be for the next 3 years. That's where we are.
Now, here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. India's capital city of New Delhi is preparing to deal with a peak in COVID-19 infections of up to 37,000 cases per day. The city is gearing up oxygen storage capacity of up to 420 tons. Genome sequencing labs will also be set up to study emerging COVID-19 variants. Taiwan is also reporting a surge in cases of over 500 new local infections as of today. The country has been previously praised for its handling of COVID-19. Authorities are now readjusting infection numbers after some delays in the release of the test results. And the World Health Organization is pushing the U.S. to free up excess vaccine doses for Latin American countries. The Global Health Agency says the next few weeks are vital, especially for smaller countries that are having a hard time securing COVID-19 vaccine supplies. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.